Welcome to the Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, the show for real estate couples about how to close more deals in the bedroom. My name is Nancy Jamison.
And I'm Bill Jamison.
And each week we deep dive into juicy, intentional, sexy conversations, sharing with you what it takes to create balance in your intimate relationships and your real estate business. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
What's happening?
So much is happening. So much is happening. Hello, Jam Fam. It's your favorite co-hosts, Bill and Nancy Jamison of Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, where we deep dive into those juicy, confronting, authentic, robust, did I say confronting? Conversations around your relationships. And so in this particular podcast, we're speaking to the relationship of Bill and I. So we're excited to be on the mic with you today.
Yep. Thanks for hanging with us while we took a break.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Composed ourselves and, started working on some new material and working on ourselves, during the break. Still are working on ourselves. I'm working on me. I don't know about you.
I'm working on me. You know what is interesting is that we just recorded a podcast around what it looks like to take a break, and that it's really not ever a break. And although we didn't necessarily record live, I don't feel like we actually took a break. I think we just shifted a priority and shifted our.
I would agree with that.
Our perspective or our time to really focus on some things that were coming up in our relationship. And I feel actually we're a direct result of us having the podcast and having so many of our conversations mic to mic, in addition to being belly to belly. So it's beautiful. So I really appreciate the process. Absolutely. Yeah, so cool. So we're here. We're ready to roll, and we are rolling, and we've been rolling, and we're coming to you with new awareness and new understanding of ourselves, and excited, just really excited to share with you. So as you know, we start off each one of our podcasts with magic, because we believe the more we focus on magic, the more magic shows up in our lives. And how do we define magic, baby?
It is our ability to influence self, others, and life, ourselves, other people or things, and life. Could be, your job, your car, anything out there that's outside of what may feel like it's outside of you, in an empowering way.
Yes, absolutely.
So a couple pieces of magic for me would be, I actually helped a friend move the other day. And if you're in the real estate business and listening to this, you don't always help your clients move. Get them into the house and handhold all the way through escrow and make sure things are lined up and get them closed and all that kind of good stuff. But these are amazing friends of ours, Day and Shonda, who we consider family, and ended up helping them move for about just a little over 8 hours yesterday.
Yeah,
and so
picked the kids up from school, brought those boys over, and got them incorporated into it too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was cool. It was a great experience. And, yes, it was great to assist them and help them out with the move. But the magic was, the move was not necessarily as big as it could have been, as we witnessed Day and really Shonda release, 50 or 60% of the items in their house. They decided to donate tables and chairs and
lamps clothes and lots of stuff.
The couches, all the stuff. I think it was pretty amazing. They're just, they had a few of these things for a while and were complete with the experience, and quite the opposite of some of the houses that we walk into, where including my mom's, where it could be like, the stuff is 20, 25, 30 years old. And, it's great. Mom's not, complete with the experience of that furniture. But yet, to see them so easily release it and say, I'm ready for something new. I don't know. I just thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty amazing. So I appreciated that a whole lot. So that's magic number 1. And then magic number 2 is that I booked a solo vacation for me coming up in just a few weeks. I'm pretty excited about it. Flying down to Miami for a few days, and it'll be my first solo vacation, I think, ever. I don't think I've ever gone anywhere like on a vacation. Like, I've taken some trips by myself, of course, but I don't know if I've ever really just like straight up went on a vacation for me. And I'm excited about that as well.
I am too.
Thanks.
I'm excited for you too.
So I booked the ticket. Don't know where I'm staying yet.
Oh, I'm sure you'll figure it out.
So, and then I got thinking, I booked the ticket to Miami, but then, Key West is pretty close.
That it is.
Fort Lauderdale's right there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm complete.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So, let's see. My magic is around my personal journey as well. So it's interesting. The last like 10 months or so, I have been very intentional about reconnecting in my relationship with source, God, universal energy, whatever you particularly want to call it. I interchange it with either source or God. And so I've started rereading Conversations with God, in addition to doing my daily meditation practice and those types of things, and really digging deep into Conversations with God. So like, I'll read half of a chapter and then I'll go back and reread it again, or I'll write some notes, or I'll write some questions, and then I'll talk with my life coach about it, or my circle, my accountability circle about it, just to bounce some different ideas about it, or I'll talk with you about it, and then I'll go back and I'll reread it again, and it's very reaffirming. It's been an amazing process for me to get back in touch with my connection and my relationship with a higher power that is definitely there, that I believe is there, that I experience on a daily basis. And so in that practice, it's led me to what is called getting my Akashic records read. And so Akashic records are essentially the record of your soul's journey. And so if you think about this, it's the energy that holds in the soul, right? So the soul holds the energy of all of your thoughts, your beliefs, your circumstances, your experiences, and all of your different, all of those things from each lifetime. And so if you imagine each lifetime is a book on a shelf, and then there's a shelf full of books. Well, some people have a bookcase full of books or a library full of books. And so it's all of this information representing all of these different agreements that you have in each one of your lifetimes. And so in spirit, there are record keepers that keep track of this information just for you, like just your information. So each person has Akashic records, houses, cars, pets, they all have Akashic records because there essentially is a soul in each one of these items. And so I was referred to a coach, an Akashic record reader, and I like to choose people I'm going to get in business with by referrals. Our real estate business is 87% referral based, meaning that 87% of the time we receive referrals. So that's how I like to do business as well. So I actually received 3 different referrals for this one lady, this one coach, and she's amazing. And if you want to hear more about her, I'm happy to share her information because she's truly amazing. And so essentially she is the conduit for these guides, these spirit guides, and you ask questions to Kimberly, and therein lies the translation to the guides, and then they pull from your soul's journey. And so I was very interested in having an understanding of the agreements that I agreed to prior to coming into this life experience as Nancy Jamison. I was very interested in hearing the agreements that I have with Bill and that we may not know about or haven't come to light yet. The agreements around the four of us as a family, the agreements around my family, my two sisters and my mom and my dad. And so it was just a really beautiful discovery process. And so one of the things that she shared with me in our hour-long session, which was jam-packed, and I'm so grateful that I asked her to record it, is that I specifically asked her what my purpose was here as Nancy Jamison, and then the priorities of the experiences, or priorities of the purpose, rather, as Nancy Jamison. And so the three things that she said back to me that they wanted me to hear, that the guides wanted me to hear, was that where I am right now, it's all about discovery, unconditional love, and a wisdom keeper. And so just the discovery of this process, the curiosity of this process, the unfolding and unearthing of this process. And then the love, the unconditional love piece is really sinking in and imbuing the unconditional love and experiencing what it means to be unconditional love and to have unconditional love for myself, for others, and then all things, all life experiences. And so when she's like, does any of this resonate with you? I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Kimberly, if you know me, like, look at my necklace real quick. We were on a Zoom call. So I wear a necklace that says love, and I have been wearing that for about 3 years now. And the purpose of me wearing the love necklace is to remind myself that I am love. So they were speaking my language for sure. And there's a lot more detail and context that goes into this. I'm just giving you a super high level. And then the other thing was that the wisdom keeper, she says that I have lived many, many lives before, both male and female, that she actually shared with me that I was a captain of a ship at one point, and, among other things. And so one of my soul purposes is to blanket the humanity, really, with this unconditional love and with this curiosity for discovery, and be a wisdom keeper, so that I have impact. So all of this information, experiences through these different lives have impact. And for me to, start a small group, or to get into coaching, or to, she said, you don't necessarily have to be like an Eckhart Tolle. However, what you do and who you say it with and the transformational work that you're doing has tremendous impact. And I was like, wow. So I have an accountability group. This is actually my second one that I've led over the course of the last 5 years. And clearly I'm in coaching. And so Kimberly didn't know any of that about me. And, so I love that. I love that it's a confirmation that I'm on path. And it was a really beautiful process. And then the last thing that I'll share about that is that she did say that Bill and I, the intersection of our lives, the intersection of our souls is deep, and we've experienced many, many lives together thus far. And one of our primary purposes of us being together in this lifetime was to have a family, and specifically those two boys. So I really appreciate that confirmation as well. So it's just the self-discovery process, the self-mastery process is really beautiful and always unfolding. And I will forever be the eternal student to the whole process. So I love it. I'm complete.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Did she happen to say where our lives intersected in other lives? Previous lives?
No.
Brother, sister?
No, my second session was I have a whole host of questions around us. And she did actually ask if she said, do you think that Bill would be interested in doing something together with you? And I said, absolutely. I think he'd be interested for sure. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yep. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. Happy magic.
Yes.
Snap, snap, snap.
Snap, snap, snap. Well, awesome. And it's really beautiful, because I think all of this that we're talking about as we love to do is incorporate and weave the magic into our topic of discussion for today. And so our topic is emotional maturity. And it's such a big, broad, juicy topic that today is more of an introductory or a part one of that.
Yeah, the intention
subject.
Really is to throw it out there, and see what takes with you guys. If you have any questions or anything specific as we dive in over the next few episodes around emotional maturity, and and to give you all a chance to kind of research for yourself, because if you have never really looked at emotional maturity and maybe where you are, or in relation to others, or in relation to where you want to be, it might be a great time for you to do a little bit of research around emotional maturity, and it may clue you into how you act or react or proactively have a conversation or respond to a situation, and that's really what's led us to Nancy and I to this on this emotional maturity path. And we realize that, and I'm sure you do too, all you out there, is that we have different levels of maturity in different areas of our life. Spiritual, physical, mental. I mean, we all have different levels of maturity in each area of our lives. And, and it could even dig down a little deeper than that. I have more maturity when I'm talking with my friends as opposed to maturity when I'm talking with my wife, kind of thing, so, and it's subtle, it can be subtle or not, I mean, if you're having this like breakdown, gangster breakdown where, you're either raging or crying uncontrollably around certain subject matter when it comes up, you may want to look at the your maturity around it. And so that's what Nancy and I are doing right now. Mm-hmm. So, done a little bit of research already. Really feel like we're starting to get a handle on what it is for us, or for me, I'll say. And now trying to get a handle on what it looks like to level up around emotional maturity. Mm-hmm. So there's a website where there's a Dr. Allen. He says he defines emotional maturity as the ability to make good, positive, healthy choices during the challenges of life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty accurate. The emotional maturity he defines emotional maturity as the ability to make good, positive, healthy choices during the challenges of life.
Mm-hmm. And then so where this came up from is that Bill and I have had a breakdown around like our trigger, our argument is around communication and like forthright, open, here's what I'm feeling communication. And that's been the thing to like really put it in a nutshell. Of course, there's like different details and nuances to that. And we struggled with getting through to the to solving and the solution based, and realized that when we did argue, we were in a disagreement or arguing about the symptoms or the minutia of how we got into the argument and never really got to the source of the problem or healing the problem. And so we started realizing that it was a different way that we responded to each other when we were in a breakdown, certain characteristics that when we were in a breakdown, we would see as a pattern over and over. And that wouldn't necessarily be there when we were having a disagreement with anybody else. It was just simply a disagreement or a difference of opinion. It wasn't this guttural, crying, emotional, distraught, crazy breakdown. It's like, okay, cool. So you disagree with me. I disagree with you. Okay, good. Done. Move on. So what came to surface was our emotional maturity, or the maturity in which to move through a disagreement when he and I were in it. Like, what were those choices that we were making in and around the disagreement that would thwart any type of progress or any of it? I mean, it just would shut it down. So
let me go through this emotional immaturity list. I can go through a couple of these real quick. Being reactive, like life happens to me. You act out of your emotions as opposed to act on emotions. You act out. You're pretty self-centered. You're looking to avoid, quote unquote, failure or rejection or discomfort. A lot of living in the past or the future, and not being present and accountable to where you're at right now. So some maturity, some signs of maturity around emotional maturity could be being proactive, right? Being motivated, choosing to move forward despite circumstances. Giving, like you have, focusing on others and not just thinking that the universe revolves around you. And you seek growth. And you live in the present.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else come up for you around what emotional maturity is or isn't?
Well, the way I think you really have an indication as to where you are with your level of emotional maturity is that when somebody that you're in relationship with does something, or like you're in, a conversation, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, how do I respond to this person when this person does such and such a thing? And so that's where we get into the, I experience you as raging, like getting super angry, or I experience the other person as, are you cold? Or like you shut it down and like close it off and just you go cold. And then, lastly is the vulnerability, like, are you open to being vulnerable or you're not open to being vulnerable? So you'll really be able to ask yourself that question, when they disappoint you or leave you hanging in uncertainty, those characteristics, how do you respond in the wake of those circumstances?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you can identify your emotional maturity. And then I would say the more visceral the reaction to those characteristics, the lower maturity you have. And the higher the maturity you have when you're able to go, wow, okay, I could see that and I may not agree with it, and let's talk this out. So that was really like our clarity point, or point of clarity, when we realized that there was low maturity around those specific things. And then, ultimately it is being present. It's like getting present, keeping your eye on the bigger picture, like your eye on the vision. It's like, okay, there's all of this at stake. We have commitments, we have business, we have, our family, you may or may not have a family, but whatever your roles and your responsibilities are, you're looking at all of these things and you're keeping your eye on the ball. And it's like, wow, if I choose to stick it to you right now, or if I choose to be angry, or if I choose to shut it down and not be vulnerable and be cold, then that impacts all of these other things. And there are consequences to that. So it's really fascinating. It's really been fascinating. So just coming back to us for a moment, we shared with you about how our financial maturity was really low, to the point where we went through the bankruptcy. We had our electricity shut off. We were on, chicken and rice for years. We did all of those things. And it was the choices to move us out of that, to to focus on abundance and change those scarcity money patterns, and to have a budget, to stick to the budget, to have the weekly budget conversations, to do Dave Ramsey Financial Peace multiple times, to read money books, to, write and create money mantras, and like keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again, and look money in the eyes until we moved out of that. And it was reps. It's just like repping a bicep curl. You start with a bicep curl at 1 pound, and then you move to 2 pounds, and then you move to 5 pounds, and you move to 10, and lo and behold, so it's a process. So when I think about the emotional maturity piece, it's a process. And the only way you know where you are in that spectrum is to assess and get real honest with each other, get real honest with yourself as to where you are within those characteristics. And then from that point, you say, okay, I choose this.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a point in which you can either choose to continue to kick and scream, or you can choose to say, I want a different experience. And so back to the financial piece, we wanted a different experience. We wanted to experience abundance, and we are experiencing and really living a life full of abundance, and it takes work. And so as far as the emotional maturity piece, I believe that we have been really focusing on all of the other beautiful aspects of our life, and we've been focusing on increasing our emotional maturity. And sometimes some things just take a little bit longer than others, like physically for me personally, it's still tricky for me to do a pull-up. Like some days I'll knock out a pull-up, and other days I'm like, sheesh, like it's not a habit yet. It's not something, I 100% believe in that I can do at any point and just like kick up to, or not kick up, but like hop up and do a pull-up, And so some things just take a little bit longer to embody. And we're working on it, and we're doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that, and I appreciate you for that.
So that's what we've been up to, and that is what we are up to. We'll continue to be up to. Mm-hmm. And my intention, I think it's Nancy's intention as well, is to share a little bit more of our journey and continue to be transparent and even more transparent with it.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of want to lob that out there today and let y'all know what we're up to. So that's it. That's what I got today.
Cool.
Anything else you'd like to add to it?
I don't think so. I mean, of course, if you have any questions about anything, or you have comments about anything, feel free to reach out. We're on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, our Facebook group is still kicking, and a private Facebook group. It's Love, Money, and Real Estate. The private Facebook group is Love, Money, and Real Estate. The open Facebook group is Sex, Money, and Real Estate. Yeah,
so we're gonna get back to publishing some videos and offering some content there that we would not necessarily offer anywhere else. So come and join the group while you can, while it's still free.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon.
Awesome.
Yes. Have an amazing day, baby.
Thank you. You too.
And we'll see you all on the flip side.
All right.
Bye for now.
Bye. Wow, what a show. Thank you so much for listening. If you're inspired, we ask that you share the podcast with one person and subscribe and follow our show. I'm Nancy Jamison.
And I'm Bill Jamison.
And remember, it's a great life.
Woo!
Quick note about the Sex, Money, and Real Estate podcast. We are not doctors or licensed therapists. We are a joyous, abundant, and mature couple passionately sharing our story of growth around sex, money, and real estate. Our thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are our own, so please consult your doctor, healthcare provider, or your broker regarding any questions or issues you have related to your physical or mental health or specific state laws regarding your real estate business.